In the quiet town of Maplewood, nestled between rolling hills and lush green fields, there lived a kind-hearted man named Lucas Gray. Lucas had always been an animal lover, but his heart belonged to a ginger tabby cat named Rusty. Rusty came into Lucas's life unexpectedly, as if fate had planned their meeting all along. It was 10 years ago when Lucas's younger sister, Clara, brought him a tiny, trembling kitten wrapped in a warm blanket. It was Lucas's 28th birthday, and Clara knew how much he missed having a companion after their family dog passed away. Rusty, with his bright amber eyes and fiery orange coat, instantly claimed a special place in Lucas's heart. "Happy birthday, big brother," Clara said, handing him the tiny kitten. "Meet your new best friend." From the moment they met, Lucas and Rusty became inseparable. Rusty followed Lucas around the house, curling up on his lap as he worked and sleeping at the foot of his bed every night. Their bond was unlike anything Lucas had ever experienced. Rusty wasn't just a pet. He was family, a confidant, and a source of endless joy. One warm spring afternoon, Lucas and Rusty were enjoying their usual routine. Lucas was tending to his backyard garden while Rusty explored the bushes nearby, chasing butterflies and sunbathing. For a moment, Lucas's phone buzzed, drawing his attention. It was just a quick glance, but when he looked back, Rusty was gone. Panic set in as Lucas searched every corner of the yard, calling Rusty's name repeatedly. He ventured into the neighborhood, asking neighbors and putting up posters, but Rusty was nowhere to be found. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but Lucas refused to give up hope. He printed flyers, knocked on doors, and even hired a pet detective. But it was as if Rusty had vanished into thin air. The years that followed were some of the darkest in Lucas's life. The once cheerful and outgoing man became withdrawn, his heart heavy with guilt and sadness. Friends tried to comfort him, urging him to adopt another pet, but Lucas couldn't bring himself to do it. "Rusty isn't replaceable," he would say, his voice tinged with sorrow. Lucas found solace in his work as an architect, pouring himself into designs and blueprints. But every evening as he returned home, he felt the emptiness of his house. Rusty's favorite toys remained untouched, and his photo stood on Lucas's desk, a painful reminder of the bond he had lost. 7 years later, life had taken Lucas to a bustling city 100 miles away. A promotion at work required him to relocate, leaving behind the town where he and Rusty had shared so many memories. The decision was bittersweet. Moving on felt like letting go of the last shred of hope, but Lucas knew he couldn't hold on to the past forever. One weekend, Lucas stumbled upon a local animal shelter hosting an adoption event. Hesitant but curious, he decided to volunteer. "Maybe helping these animals will help me heal," he thought. The shelter became his sanctuary, a place where he could channel his love for Rusty into caring for other animals in need. It was an ordinary Saturday when everything changed. As Lucas was helping clean kennels, a shelter worker rushed in carrying an old, frail cat. The cat's fur was matted, and he was painfully thin. One of his ears was torn, and his amber eyes, though dull, still held a spark of life. "We found him wandering near the highway," the worker explained. "Poor guy's been through a lot." The shelter veterinarian suggested euthanasia, citing the cat's age and fragile condition. But as the staff prepared for the procedure, they scanned the cat for a microchip, a standard protocol. The scanner beeped, revealing a name that sent shockwaves through Lucas's heart. Rusty. Lucas's breath caught as the worker read out the name. Rusty Gray, registered to a Lucas Gray. It couldn't be possible. His hands trembled as he stepped forward. "That's me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Rusty. He's my cat." When Lucas entered the room where Rusty was kept, his heart felt like it might burst. Rusty lay curled in the corner of a small cage, his body frail and weak. But as Lucas knelt and softly called his name, something extraordinary happened. Rusty's ears twitched, and his amber eyes widened. Slowly, he lifted his head and let out a faint, familiar meow. Lucas opened the cage and extended his hand. Rusty, though weak, mustered the strength to stand and stagger toward him. The moment Rusty nuzzled into Lucas's hand, tears streamed down Lucas's face. He gently scooped Rusty into his arms, holding him close, as the room filled with the sound of soft sobs and heartfelt smiles. Everyone in the shelter was moved by the reunion, some unable to hold back their own tears. The shelter released Rusty into Lucas's care after ensuring he could provide the necessary treatment. Lucas took time off work, dedicating himself entirely to Rusty's recovery. He set up a cozy bed in his living room, filled with soft blankets and toys that had remained untouched for years. Rusty needed round-the-clock care, from special diets to medication, but Lucas was ready for the challenge. Over weeks, Rusty began to regain his strength. His coat grew shinier and his playful spirit returned. One evening, as Lucas worked on a design at his desk, Rusty leapt onto his lap, purring contentedly. It was as if they were making up for lost time. Rusty's return brought light back into Lucas's life. His laughter became more frequent, and his once empty home was filled with warmth and love. Through Rusty, Lucas met Mia, a fellow shelter volunteer who shared his passion for animals. Their shared experiences blossomed into a deep connection, with Rusty's approval evident in the way he purred whenever Mia visited. Rusty's story became an inspiration. Lucas shared it with shelter visitors, reminding them to never give up hope. He started a fund to support microchipping and rescue efforts, ensuring other pets would have a chance at reunion. Years later, as Rusty napped on a sunny windowsill, Lucas often reflected on their journey. Rusty's resilience and unwavering bond had taught him the true meaning of love and perseverance. One day, while flipping through an old photo album, Lucas came across a picture of himself and Rusty on his 28th birthday. The image brought a smile to his face, reminding him of how far they had come. Lucas knew their time together was finite, but every moment was a gift. As Rusty curled up on his lap that evening, Lucas whispered, "You've always been my best friend, Rusty, and you always will be." Lucas and Rusty's story wasn't just about a lost pet. It was a testament to the unyielding power of love, hope, and the connections that transcend time. Together, they had faced the darkness and found their way back to the light, proving that some bonds can never be broken.